What's up, everyone? I'm Dr. Brett Jones of the Source Chiropractic here in Tucson. And I think it's very important that people start understanding what is happening with their body post-COVID, and that it's okay to receive care, body work or chiropractic care, after you're past the infectious stage. There's been this conscious and subconscious programming, if you will, that people are scared to go out, even when testing negative, even when being asymptomatic as far as coughing and sneezing and spreading virus, that they still are hesitant to receive care, and yet it's care that's gonna help them bring them back to the healthiest version of themselves. So we have Jason here, and Jason just went through COVID. He was able to heal it naturally, avoided the hospital, had mild to moderate symptoms, and did have some symptoms post-COVID. So what's the biggest things you were experiencing post-COVID?
I think the post-COVID hangover, I guess is what they're calling it. I think that fog where you're not quite 100%, and just a little bit of the congestion that lingers, and it's kind of feels like a cold, right? But it's not really a cold.
Okay.
And then I think, some chest tension.
Yep.
And it's not the lungs feeling like full of fluid, but it's just almost like a body tension, right?
Yep.
And it's almost like your body is still in defense a little bit, even though you're not producing any symptoms or anything like that.
Okay.
Those are the kind of lingering effects that I've had, and that I've kind of seen some of the other.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have you lay down, Jason, on your stomach. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through things that I see. So we at the Source Chiropractic in Oakland, I just moved to Tucson. In Oakland, we had 30,000 patient visits last year. We had nobody get hospitalized with COVID, right? And so I do believe there are certain care options that will help, one, either keep you out of the hospital, or two, make sure that if whatever your situation was, again, vaccinated, unvaccinated, doesn't matter, post-COVID, that you can bounce back to yourself quicker. And once you're past the infectious stage, right, and you're testing negative, it's okay for you to receive care. So what are the things that we're noticing? Well, there's quite a few symptoms. He explained a few of them. Some people are also noticing decreased power production. So they go to do an exercise and they just feel like they don't have the strength or energy to do it. One of the telltale signs of having a respiratory infection or COVID is seeing a drop in your oxygen saturation, which means that even though you may feel like you're taking a normal breath, you're not getting the same oxygen delivery. And another piece is what I've been seeing mainly, which I'll show you here, is the whole rib cage being contracted. We have all kinds of connective tissue that goes, from the lungs to different aspects of our skeletal anatomy. And what can happen is it just gets compressed and constricted. And then when that happens, you can't take a full breath, right? And you feel locked in. And he said it well, it's like I'm in constant kind of defense following this invasion, if you will, of this pathogen. So we're gonna walk you through our check. So we always start with a leg length check, just seeing if there's any pelvic imbalance, checking heel tension as a sign of also potential posterior chain tension going up the spine. And we've been blessed here to take care of Jason and his family at the Source Tucson. And so really stoked to be able to check in today. And so he's actually had 2 adjustments already since coming back. He doubled up this week, which is awesome. So what I will typically see, right, is the rib cage coming in and locking down, so it's coming in and compressing this way. And then I want you to imagine all those ribs and vertebrae stacked, all getting closer, and then you can have inflammation in the actual cartilage between the ribs. And so often what I'm doing is I'll find a way basically to put an adjustive force into the system that allows everything to open up. One of the ways that we'll tell is after we do the adjustment, there's this new breath that had been lost, right? So what I'm picking up here right now is we got more compression on the right side. He's a little fuller in the musculature on the right side, which is part of the erector spinae group, going in the latissimus group, and then will work its way into the trap. And so we have muscle fullness here. I have compression starting at about T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, and then all of those rib heads. And so what I'm looking for is which direction do I need to go ahead and put, again, an adjustive impulse that's going to open things up. And so since he was compressed down here, I'm going to go ahead and open this up with this rotation this way. And then I'm now connected to the T5 rib head, but I have all that tissue that's opening up, and I'm basically going to use the tissue to open up the rib cage at the vertebral levels below. Take a breath for me, Jason. Let it out. Right there. There it was. Big one. Go ahead, take a nice big breath, Jason. Good. And so something that you can be doing on your own is you're going to have to retrain your system, right? So as oxygen saturation drops, potentially your respiration rate can increase, but the rib cage gets locked down. And so as that happens, the muscles, the fascia, and everything just kind of compress in. You can use a big diaphragmatic breath as everything expands. So first you can imagine expanding on the front side. Exhale, let it go. Then you can imagine expanding for width. Exhale, let it go. And then you can actually imagine expanding for depth, so front and back. So can you get bigger in the backside? Sometimes it's helpful to go into a little flexion here. And then imagine that you're opening up like a blowtorch for those big hot air balloons, right? And it's just filling up that way. So fill your rib cage, thoracic cage, in all directions with big, powerful inhales, and you'll start to create that space from the inside out. So that's something you can do on your own. And so with Jason, I'm also noticing a slight superior ilium. And so that also makes sense. We had this torquing down of the rib cage here and then a torquing up of the pelvis. And so the combination of these two is this big compressive pattern going all the way through here. So we're gonna lengthen him out, and by lengthening him out, he has more space to breathe and move effectively. All right, so Jason, you're gonna go ahead and turn this way, face me, on your side. Cool. Now, you also, during this, you, again, were able to beat it naturally, and I do want you to kind of speak to some of the things that you were doing. Not to go into, obviously, a lot of detail, but we're going to let you hold. There we go. Face up, bud. So, Jason, what were some of the things that you did supplementation-wise in regards to just, getting through this that seemed to be really helpful?
Well, we use a lot of homeopathic remedies,
Uh-huh.
so I think a combination of that, tons of zinc, tons of water. I didn't hit a fever or anything like that, so I think mine was just more of like that head cold. Head cold,
congestion.
So I think just slowing down and like allowing myself to rest. I think a lot of us just go.
Just power through it.
Trying to hit neutral for a little bit. I think that was the big thing, and then checking the mindset of like defense to offense. So just really being diligent about my supplements, all my natural supplements and hydration. But I think that and rest, and that was it. So.
And I think that's the big takeaways. If you had to take some principles away from what he just shared, is anytime we are in defense, because that's what's happening, right? Our immune system is trying to defend an incoming pathogen, slow down the offense, right? If we're in defense, slow down the offense. And so that means coming back home, coming back within, getting more rest, more recovery, decreasing all the things that you may need to do outside of the house or even in the house, right? So getting help, getting support. And by doing so, we're putting ourselves in the best environment we have to win that fight. And so very important principles. Thank you for sharing, Jason. Okay, and so now we're checking out the neck. It's always a check in tone, a check in motion. We do have a little bit of swelling near the occiput and C1, so the suboccipital muscles are tightening, and so now I'm looking for specificity of what's going on. We have an anterior atlas, so first bone of the neck, slightly anterior. I'm going to connect to the TP, and then we're going to drive down this way. So let's see, right there. Good. Woo, baby. And then we're going to continue that motion. C2. Good. Awesome. So we're getting things cleared out. Something else that we can check is the rib cage in the front. Spring-loaded instrument can be quite effective, or you can make adjustments with your hand. I'm going to go ahead and, which I did yesterday because I saw Jason yesterday as well. And so we worked the second rib head a little bit more on the left side. He's more posterior on the right, which often means anterior on the opposite side. So rib cage was posterior and back on the right, so it's going to be forward and front on the left side. And so you can check the sternocostal junction, all right here, where the sternum meets the costal part of the rib. And so I'm picking up right now like T4. It's pretty swollen. So on his exhale, I'm just gonna follow it down and out. And again, inhale, exhale, and inhale, and exhale. And so all this is doing is it's giving him more space to breathe. It's making everything more functional, which will decrease inflammation, will decrease joint tenderness or achiness. And again, it's just gonna help you perform at your best level. With chiropractic care, what we're looking for is all these little changes that might be happening in the spine or the extremities. But when we're focusing on the spine as a primary, the biggest reason we do that is because of the nerves that exit the spine, right? The nerves in your body go to every organ, muscle, tissue, and gland that you have. So if you have these spinal deformations, or what we call subluxations, then that's going to interfere with the performance of that nerve, both in motor output and in sensory input. So in order for us to regain optimal function, it's really important to get well aligned, have great movement patterns, do good mobility, strength activities, exercise, endurance, cardiovascular exercises, all of it. And that's how we give ourselves a fighting chance, and this is how we recover through this thing better than the last time. All right, so I hope we all get better together. Thanks for checking us out. Again, this is The Source Chiropractic with Dr. Brett Jones. Until next time, peace.